Hi, welcome to City Vision University's Cross-Cultural Management and Ministry course. I'm really excited about this course. This is actually one of our favorite courses by our students, and I believe one of our best courses. So let me just give you a quick overview of what this course is going to cover. So our courses are intensive, so it takes about 17 hours per week for every 3-credit course if you're taking this for credit. And we're going to start off and we're going to cover Introduction to Culture and Cultural Intelligence. Then we're going to go into ethnic identity development and social class. Both of those are some helpful theories to understand culture. And really, we're looking at social class as culture. Then we're going to look at global cultural dimensions, indigenous leadership development across race, class, and gender, organizational culture, and using a tool called Competing Values Framework, which in my opinion is the most helpful tool that any organization can use to look at their culture. And we're going to be looking at ways to measure organizational cross-cultural effectiveness in week 6. Then we're going to be doing a cross-cultural organizational assessment and using something called base of the pyramid or bottom of the pyramid strategy. And then finally, we're going to conclude with you developing a cross-cultural strategic plan. So each of these weeks has associated outcomes with them. You can kind of read these. I'm not going to go into all the detail. But focusing on, especially on week 7, it's building towards developing a comprehensive cross-cultural assessment and strategic plan for your organization, and also in week 4, developing a personal cross-cultural assessment and leadership growth plan for yourself. Now, part of how our courses work is we use something that's called Bloom's Taxonomy of Learning, and the idea is that you're going to build on the learning. So one of the things we're going to have you do in the course is we're going to have you write summaries. And I would encourage you to take notes, detailed notes, not just summaries, as you go through all the material. And then in summarizing them, that makes you learn it again, right? So, and then after that, what we're trying to do is to make sure that you understand it. So then a lot of times the forums are going to be, applying things at a more basic level in the live meetings. And some of that, you'll be doing the application. But a lot of this course is going to be analyzing. It's going to be, looking at different cultural dimensions and different ways of looking at culture. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is to get you to, evaluate. So that's largely what your personal cross-cultural growth plan is saying. Where do you need to grow? And then your cross-cultural assessment plan. You're evaluating your organization cross-culturally. And then you're going to use all that to build towards, in week 8, your cross-cultural strategic plan. So how this course helps you become a more balanced manager and leader. Across all our courses, we use this tool called Competing Values Framework, which translated into kind of layman's terms is 4 domains of skills: ministry skills, business skills, operation skills, and entrepreneurial skills. And often these are in tension, especially across the diagonal. This course fits largely in the ministry skills, and it fits within what we call the cross-cultural competencies. So we have 4 courses that are focused on that: cross-cultural management and ministry, Christian community development, leadership in diverse communities, and urban youth ministry. And then we also have business skills, operations and governance, and innovation. So the idea is you want to be able to have skills when you graduate across all 4 quadrants. And then we have courses that help you integrate all of these, like strategic management, or some courses that introduce you to all of them. So one of the biggest challenges I have in online learning is that most of cross-cultural management and ministry is not head learning. And online education is particularly effective at head learning or cognitive learning. So mainly what you're going to get from this book, from this course in books, is going to be head learning. Now, the challenge is, I heard someone once say, if your knowledge and learning gets ahead of your experience, then you can become arrogant. And so I would encourage you to try to complement this if you're not engaged in cross-cultural work, to try to complement this in cross-cultural work. For many of you, you've been engaged in cross-cultural work, so hopefully this will just help give you additional language for some of the things that you've been experiencing. But what that might look like, systems and if you want to do heart learning about systems and justice, ultimately the way you learn that is by experiencing long-term suffering as someone experiencing oppression in cross-cultural systems. And then if you want to learn about mercy and personal, having deep cross-cultural friendships and relationships, having long-term experience as a cultural minority is going to help you with heart learning. That's a lot of the reason why organizations like CCDA promote cultural immersion through relocation. And then hand learning is experience in leading cross-cultural organizations. So you're going to run into problems if you're trying to lead cross-culturally. Cross-cultural skills and fluency from long-term experience in cross-cultural settings. So just recognize some of the limitations in this course and use it for what it is. Now, why is this topic important? So from a Christian perspective, cross-cultural, it used to be we all lived in our own little worlds. There wasn't as much cross-cultural interaction, and Christianity was largely a European and North American Western religion. That's changed over time. If you look at what's happened over time, sometime around 1980, the majority of Christianity or of Christians were in non-Western countries, so what many people call the global South, or the majority world. And by 2025, it's going to be the vast majority of Christianity, of Christians. And that's even more significant whenever you look at the growth of Christianity. So by 2025, 99% of the growth of Christianity is happening in what they call the global South. So Christians need to get used to this map of the world. It's interesting whenever we look at a map of the world, we always have Europe and North America in the center. But just demographically, the cultural center of Christianity now is Africa. There's a lot in Asia, but the global South in non-Western countries especially is where Christianity is growing. So that is increasingly important from a global perspective. But what about, many of you are just based in the U.S. What about in the U.S.? Well, one of the biggest struggles I hear from organizations is they say, we have a lot of senior staff. A lot of our staff are over 50 or over 40, and we need to get the next generation. Well, the next generation isn't coming to your organization because you don't have the culture that they're looking for. They're going to other organizations. And one of the biggest issues is this issue of racial equality. So what this was a study that looked at the values of different social issues across the different generations, Generation Z, Millennials, Generation X, and this last one is the Boomer generation. And you can see there's a big shift between the two younger generations and the older generations on racial equality. It's also significant on gender, social issues. And for many younger Christians, they're saying, your organization doesn't prioritize this. I'm going to go to an organization that does. So that's another reason why this is significant, besides just the biblical basis of all of this. Now, we're not going to do the deep dive on that in this course. This is a tools course, but in some of our other courses, we cover that. So just to compare City Vision's courses, each of our courses applies different lenses. So, our leadership course covers systems thinking. This course doesn't cover systems thinking. This course looks at race and ethnicity, looks at the race, class, and gender lens, organizational strategy, the class lens, ethnic identity development, global cultural dimensions, and organizational culture. Whereas we do a deeper dive on gender in the leadership course, we do academic leadership theories in that course, and we look at Christian leadership emergence in that course. And Christian community development, we cover some other things. We look at just the whole field of Christian community development. It's another framework for looking at this, the Christian social justice tradition, and we do a deeper dive on the biblical basis for justice. We also cover race in that course. So all of these are intended to be complementary. That you could think of them as overlapping circles. So hopefully you'll really enjoy this course. You'll get a lot out of this course. And for many of you, I know that you've been engaged in cross-cultural management and ministry. And my hope is what this will do is it'll give you increased language to use and increased tools to use both for yourself personally and your organizations. So thanks a lot.